वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. So verse 33 now. 3 more verses for this chapter to be over. And here it is. यथा सर्वगतं सौक्ष्म्याद् आकाशं नोपलिप्यते सर्वत्रावस्थितो देहे तथात्मानोपलिप्यते. As the all-pervading ether is not tainted because of its subtlety, so too the self, seated everywhere in the body, is not tainted. Normally, anything that comes in touch with something else starts gaining the properties of that thing. But the self, it pervades the entire body, and yet it is not tainted by anything in the body or any material object. It is not tainted. The subtler cannot be influenced or contaminated by the grosser. That is a law. Then done to give you an example. See, thoughts can enter fire, but do the thoughts get burnt? Fire is gross, thoughts are subtle. So when the thoughts are subtle, nothing can touch them. Nothing can touch them. So it is just a thought. See, even in a desert, you see a mirage of waters, right? But the waters, that mirage water cannot quench your thirst. You get my point? So that mirage water is just very, very subtle. Similarly, there are so many things. The subtler the thing, the more pervasive it is. And therefore, the self that is everywhere. The self is the most subtle thing. It is subtler than all the 5 elements. It is subtler than anything that is gross. And therefore, nothing can really contaminate it in any way. Gurudev used to give an example that there is a man, and the family wants to punish him. So his head is in the fridge and his feet are in the heater or the oven or whatever, and children are tickling him all over the body. Is he not feeling the sensation in the complete body? Or is it that if the children are touching him in the center, his head and his feet are not feeling anything? No, it is not like that. The awareness, the sensation of consciousness is all along his body. So this is the whole thing, that the akash or the space, as you call it, is very, very subtle. It can accommodate it. Actually, akash means accommodation. In Sanskrit, akash means accommodation. See, space accommodates everything, isn't it? Space accommodates everything. So all the filth of the space can contaminate air, but it cannot contaminate space. ध्यान से सोचना, There's a difference. Space cannot be contaminated by anything. So here, because it is the subtlest of all the five elements. Now, uh, सी वो एक वो लाइन है पोइट्री में कि stone walls do not a prison make. Now, stone walls are made of stone. A prison is also has those iron bars where prisoners cannot escape. They can look out of a window, but they cannot escape, right? So all that is gross. But can it imprison his mind? No. Mind is much subtler than the prison walls and the prison gate. So mind can be anywhere. It can be at his home with his family. It can be in a movement. It can be murdering somebody. It can be anywhere at all because the mind is subtler than that. And the prison cannot imprison the mind or the thoughts. So here it is. Gurudev gives an example here that the murders committed in a dream cannot soil the hands of the waker. Whatever happens to you in a dream is subtle, waking stage is gross. ठीक है ना? So whatever happens in a dream happens there, that has got no entry into the waking field. It cannot influence the waking field. It can neither make you sad nor happy. If you gain a multi-crore lottery in your dream, when you wake up, does it make you happy? You start buying properties and you start doing all kind of things with that money, dream money? No, but that is subtler. It cannot influence the process. So enough examples to prove this point that, and he says yatha sarvagatam saksha. So he says like all pervading ether is not tainted because of its subtlety. So you understood that the self is the subtlest, and therefore the self cannot be soiled by your actions. Okay, now the next. यथा प्रकाशयत्येकः कृत्स्नं लोकम् इमं रविः क्षेत्रं क्षेत्री तथा कृत्स्ने प्रकाशयति भारत. Okay, just as one sun, this is a very good example, this is an extremely good example. Just as the one sun illumines the whole world, so also the Lord of the field, Paramatma, illumines the whole field. You know, Kshetra, Kshetragna, wala hai. So here field is Kshetra. So the illuminer of the field is not contaminated by the field. So it's just as the one sun illumines the whole world. Okay. Sun illumines the whole world. When you say illumines, it is a verb. Isn't it a verb? So it's an action verb. But carefully, huh? When the sun is illumining the whole world, is it doing an action? Is the sun doing anything? It is not doing anything. It is just stationary in one place. It is the nature of the sun to illumine. The sun neither has an intention of doing anything. That मैं इसके घर में तो जाऊंगा, इस घर में मैं नहीं जाऊंगा. The sun doesn't think like that. It is you who close your windows and draw your curtain. So you have taken the choice of not letting the sun come in. It is not the sun's choice. Anybody who opens the doors and windows will get sunlight inside. The sun does not intend it. He doesn't choose where he goes, where he doesn't go. Neither the sun has any intention of warming some place, not warming some place, reaching life-giving rays to plant. This plant I'll give, that plant I will not give. No, because he does not do the action. बहुत ध्यान से इस चीज को समझने की बात है. प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड दिस केयरफुली. जस्ट लाइक द सन, it is the nature of the sun. So as the Lord has said in the Geeta earlier, sanidhya matrena kaunteya, he says, that means in the very company of sanidhya. Sanidhya means in the very presence of, in the very company of, that it happens. I have many times given you the example of the magnet. The magnet is not pulling anything. Where the magnet is kept in one place, the iron piece itself comes in there. Similarly, the earth is the one that is drawing the energy and the life-giving properties from the sun. The sun is not doing anything. तो ये सन का एग्जाम्पल है ना यहाँ पर. हाँ, तो कैन यू से दैट, when you can say that the sun is not the doer, yes, you can say that the sun is not the doer, so then he is not also the enjoyer, isn't it? The sun is neither the doer nor the enjoyer. Both things come together. So there is no action. Acha, consciousness does not do anything. It enables you to do. You are the one who's drawing power from consciousness. Your body, mind, and intellect draws energy from consciousness and then becomes aware. Awareness is the nature of consciousness. So the body, mind, and intellect becomes aware of the various things. Also, Gurudev used to say that when you say the sun illumines the universe, it is grammatically wrong, because the sun is not doing an action. Illumining is an action. So grammar wrong ho gaya na. So what other, there is no other word to choose to use this kind of happening. So the earth is itself drawing the energy, the earth is itself drawing light, the earth is itself drawing energy from the sun. The sun is just standing there. Itself is the nature of consciousness, and uh, we pull it to ourselves. Dekho, Gurudev used to say that it empowers you even to deny him. When you want to say there is no God, can you say it without his help? No, you can't even say that. You can't even pronounce a single word when you say God does not exist. He is helping you to say that. Imagine. So this is how it is. The sun cannot be blamed. Similarly, consciousness cannot be blamed. Like people generally say that if the Lord does everything, then where do I come in? But I cannot be blamed, huh? Because the Bhagwan ही कर रहे हैं सब कुछ, हाँ कर रहे हैं. But वही many times I give you that same example of petrol. The petrol is moving the car. Yes, it is. But the petrol does not choose to kill somebody or cause an accident with the car. That is your choice. Petrol is enabling the driver to do whatever he wants to do with the car, whether he wants to crash it somewhere or he wants to go to the destination is the driver's choice. Therefore, the blame or the credit is the driver's, not consciousness, not petrol. Similarly, consciousness in you cannot be blamed. The Lord cannot be blamed for your mistakes. So this thing is very, very clear over here. Now then, be very careful on this thing, that when people say that भगवान को दोष देते हैं, दिस इज व्हाट द लॉर्ड हैज डन विद मी, आई डोंट नो व्हाई द लॉर्ड चूजेस टू डू दिस विद मी, व्हाट हैव आई डन दैट द लॉर्ड शुड पनिश मी, ऐसी सुनी है ना बातें. द लॉर्ड इज डूइंग नथिंग, यू आर पनिश्ड by your own actions, not even for your own actions. It is not like that कि हमने ये करा तो इसलिए हमको ये हुआ. That action itself completes itself by the result. Carefully. See, when you pull an elastic, one hand is holding one end of the elastic, the other hand is pulling the elastic. Okay. Now, when this hand leaves the elastic, the action of pulling it itself causes the rebound of hurting this hand when it comes and hits this hand, isn't it? Every action only gets completed in itself by the result of the action. And that is what is called karma phala. Now, karma phala comes equal and opposite to the action that you are performing. The Lord has nothing to do with it. The Lord is not doing it. He is helping you to do it. Good actions, punya, punyo ka phal punya, papon ka phal papa. It is natural cause and effect, the law which governs the world. He has made the law, yes, but you cannot blame him. And without him, you cannot do it. I hope this is clear to you that without the Lord, you cannot do an action. But the Lord cannot be blamed for the action, nor can you blame the Lord for the result of the action. When people suffer, and somebody tells them कि आपके पापों का फल है, तो उसको अच्छा नहीं लगेगा, isn't it? But that is the truth. That is the truth. Many times people ask that we have seen that those people who are big seekers, उनको सबसे ज़्यादा suffering भगवान देता है. Some people say the Lord is testing us. He doesn't need to test you. He knows exactly how foolish you are. He doesn't need to test your foolishness. Okay? So the thing is that when the reaction comes, the reaction is by your own karma. You think कि कुछ नहीं होगा. I've done something nobody has seen. The great witness inside you is watching. The great witness inside you is seeing the action. And if you're doing a wrong action, it is bound to come back. Sometimes in this life, sometimes maybe in the next life. Many times when you get the suffering, Gurudev used to say, especially seekers, when you get the suffering, the Lord is scrubbing you clean of your past. So that once cleaned, in your next life, you do not get that suffering. तो जितनी है suffering, many times, अरे भैया करके खत्म करो. So that I am more and more cleansed for better and better life devoted to you. Isn't it? See, वो famous है ना? Kunti prayed to the Lord that I pray for more and more suffering. Give me more and more suffering, she prayed for. है ना? हम लोग क्या कहते हैं अपनी suffering निवारण के लिए, दुख निवारण के लिए we pray. She prayed that she should get more and more suffering. Why? Her thing was just exactly this, that more and more she will be cleansed of her past deeds. Also, the more suffering she gets, the harder she will pray to the Lord, and she will constantly remember the Lord because of her suffering. So that is what Kunti prayed for. Okay, now come to the next ones. क्षेत्र क्षेत्रज्ञयोरेवम् अंतरं ज्ञान चक्षुषा भूत प्रकृति मोक्षं च ये विदुर्यन्ति ते परम. They who by the eye of knowledge. अच्छा, अभी आप कहेंगे what is the eye of knowledge? The eye of knowledge is intuitive thinking, not this eye. It is the ज्ञान चक्षु जिसको कहते हैं वेदांत की भाषा में ज्ञान चक्षु. That is like the तीसरा नेत्र, शंकर जी का तीसरा नेत्र. Now the calendar art draws a very funny, like a cyclops, you know, that a kind of a eye drawn in the center of the forehead of Shiva. That is not it. That eye cannot be seen. It is not visible. Jnana Chakshu means the capacity, the power to understand everything in its right perspective. That is Jnana Chakshu. That develops more and more as the seeker grows. So here it is. They who by the eye of knowledge know the distinction between kshetra and kshetrajna and of the liberation from the prakriti of being go to the supreme. देखो भैया, very clearly there are three things. One is kshetra, one is kshetrajna, and one is the pure para brahma, the consciousness, the supreme. So when you talk of moksha, ये जो है ना भूत प्रकृति मोक्षम, यहाँ पे है ना भूत प्रकृति मोक्षम, this is the complete term for moksha. If you say only moksha, you can use it in so many ways. You go on have LSD or some drug or the other. There are so many kinds floating around these days in parties. Have any drug, and for a short time you feel कि हमें मोक्ष मिल गई. Liberation, moksha is liberation. But here the question is liberation from what? And for how long? The total phrase for the complete moksha is bhoot prakriti moksham. That means total moksha, not a temporary one, not from drug, not from drink, not from sleep, deep sleep, not from injecting yourself with a deep sleep medicine. None of that, because this moksha is once and forever, always. It is there to stay with you. It is there to liberate you from everything else. Here it says that with the distinction between kshetra and kshetrajna. अभी distinction क्या है क्षेत्र और क्षेत्रज्ञ का? The knower and the field. यही था ना? The knower and the known. Now a knower can only be a knower if there is a क्षेत्र. ठीक है ना? क्षेत्रज्ञ कैसे हो सकता है अगर क्षेत्र ही नहीं है? सोच के देखो. There has to be a dream for someone to be called a dreamer. There can be no dreamer without a dream. And all the sorrows, all the plurality, all the dukh sukh of the dream belongs only to the dreamer. If there is no dream, there is no dreamer. Similarly, kshetra and kshetrajna. If there is no kshetra left, then there is no kshetrajna. Otherwise, the question is always, अच्छा, क्षेत्रज्ञ किस चीज का ज्ञान है आपको? क्षेत्र तो है ही नहीं, तो अज्ञ, द ज्ञान, किस चीज का ज्ञान? Knowledge of what? Okay, be very, very careful. Now see, when you wake up, You understand that the dream has no existence? ध्यान से, हाँ, please. Once you wake up, don't you understand that the dream had no existence, tangible existence? It was only the vapors of your own mind. है ना? बाहर तो कुछ नहीं था ना? हाँ. The murdered dream wife. Is she lying there in your drawing room once you wake up? No, she is not lying there. She is not there. तो वो थी ही नहीं. She never was. अच्छा, understand this, that dreamer and dream. If the dream has got no existence really, when you wake up and you discriminate, ये ज्ञान चक्षु से, with the jnana chakshu, when you discriminate, there is no such thing as the dream. It doesn't exist. So then did the dreamer exist? Even the dreamer didn't exist. Na dream, na dreamer. Similarly, he put the same thing in your waking world. That when all this Vedanta proves to you that all this is also dream like, projected by your own mind. That is the reason why everybody's dream is different. Your dream is not my dream. Similarly, in the waking world, what you see the world as, I don't see the world as that. To one person, Mrs. Saran is a good teacher. To the other person, she's a very ordinary teacher. To the third person, she's a devil. Mrs. Saran being the same. How come somebody sees her as a devil, somebody sees her as something else, and someone sees her as something else? It is their own projection. Mrs. Saran is not 10 different kinds. She's the same person. But the perception of each one is different, just like your dream is different. So, what is the reality of Mrs. Saran? It doesn't exist because each one sees her as something different. ठीक है? So the knower and the known, be very carefully understand this knower and the known, that your moksha will come from bhuta prakriti moksham. That means you are liberated, totally liberated from the past as well as the prakriti, matter and the past, time and space. You go beyond, you totally go beyond time and space. Now, ये अपने हिंदू जो अपने शास्त्र हैं, स्क्रिप्चर्स हैं, उनमें सब में ये वर्ड आता है ज्ञान चक्षु. सो अंडरस्टैंड दिस वेरी क्लियरली. हाँ, कि आपके ज्ञान, कहते हैं ना, आपके ज्ञान चक्षु खुले हों तो आपको ज्ञान प्राप्त होगा. When your gyan chakshus are closed, there is no discrimination in that person. Most of the people are like that one. Most of the people are like that. And this jnana chakshu can be developed in the rare moments of meditation. Those people who know how to minus the kshetra from their lives. And kshetra includes your body, mind, and intellect. Please, carefully. Kshetra is composed of Prakriti. Na? So your body, mind, and intellect complete is also Kshetra. And in deep meditation, you minus the entire Kshetra. Some people say that in meditation we have uh, experience outside the body. If you are having an experience, it is with the mind. So where are you outside the body? Mind is part of the body. Mind and intellect is also part of the body, though it is the subtle body, but it is there. So when you have an experience, ask yourself, Who is experiencing? You will get to the thing that the mind is experiencing. I am experiencing. So then the experience and the experiencer, Kshetra, Kshetrajna. So you have not been liberated. No matter what you experience in meditation, it is an experience of the experiencer. To be liberated of that, to be completely liberated from there you have to be liberated even from the knower of the field. There has to be no kshetra and no kshetrajna. Then you get liberation from prakriti, as it says, and you go to the supreme. That means you merge in the supreme. There is no knower and known after that. You become Parabrahma. That is why जो सिद्ध पुरुष होते हैं, the realized master, you worship him because you worship him as a siddha. Siddha means he who has attained the supreme, who has become the supreme. He is no longer what you see as an individual. Okay, so this is what it is. Now, till the time that the experiences are there, till experiences of what? Experiences of any field, whether you see light in meditation or you see the kundalini jagrit ho rahi hai, or you see you hear sounds, or what you get smells of any kind, or you feel sensations in your body, that is all kshetra. Ye dhyan rakhna. And ask yourself, who is experiencing? It is the jiva, the kshetrajna. Kshetrajna is the jiva. You have to go beyond the jiva. So you have to go beyond the mind and intellect. So you have to liberate yourself from your total identification with the BMI, body, mind, intellect. You are not even the mind. I am suffering. I am being troubled. I am being insulted. I am being humiliated. Huh? All those things, experiences that begin with I, is the kshetrajna, the knower of the field, the jiva. Liberation is not only from the field. ये नहीं है कि आप सब छोड़ छाड़ के हरिद्वार में बैठ जाओ, ये और कपड़े अपने सब हटा के और ये लंगोटी पहन के you're sitting near the Ganga ji. That is not liberation. That is still liberation from nearby kshetra. What about you? What about the jiva? So understand that this moksha that is talked of here is bhuta prakriti moksham. This is the complete phrase over here. So here we finish the this 13th chapter and say Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishastu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yogo Nam Trayodashodhyayah. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.